1A. We are family. Happy families are all alike. Every unhappy family is unhappy in its own way. From Anna Karenina by Leo Tolstoy, Russian author. G. Have. Lexical and grammatical uses V. Personality P. Using a dictionary. 2. 3. 1. Listening. A look at some photos of 19th and 20th century families from an exhibition. They show members of a royal family, 2 statesmen, a writer, a scientist, and an artist. Discuss the questions with a partner, giving your reasons. 1. Do you recognize or know anything about any of the people? 2. What family relationships do you think are shown? 3. Which do you think are the oldest and the most recent photos? B1.2 Listen to an audio guide from the exhibition. For each photo, write. Black circle the name and occupation of the most famous person in the photo. Black circle what relation to them the other people are. Black circle the year it was taken. How many answers in a did you get right? C. Listen again and answer the questions with the name of one or more people in the photos. Who? Dot. Dot. Question mark. 1 had a difficult relationship. 2 had a very close relationship. 3 died a violent death. 4 is still alive today. 5 was thought to be alive for many years after her death. D. Look at some phrases from the audio guide. With a partner, say who they refer to and explain what the bold collocations mean. 1. The story of her survival was conclusively disproved. 2. As so many of this ill-fated family. 3. She wrote a damning description of him for their shared beliefs in national independence and education. 5. She was strongly opposed to many of his views. 6. He left home. Dot. Dot. In the dead of night. 7. She sought refuge with her beloved brother. E. Which photo draws you in the most? Why? 2. Speaking. A work in small groups. Answer the questions. Do you have many old family photos? Are any of them framed or displayed? What's the oldest family photo that you've seen? Who is your oldest living relative? How much contact do you have with him, her? Who are you closest to in your family? Why do you get on well? Is there anyone you don't get on with? Who are you most like in your family? Are there any family traits, appearance or personality, that members of your family share? B. You're going to discuss the statements below. First, decide individually what you think about each one. Think of reasons and examples to support your opinion. Parents should never try to be their children's friends. People who are very dedicated to their work rarely manage to have a happy family life. When children are young, it's better for one parent not to work and to look after them. The only person who should be allowed to criticize your family is you, not your partner or friends. Marrying very young almost inevitably ends badly. You have to love your family, but you don't have to like them. Half agreeing and politely disagreeing. When you're sharing opinions, especially with people you don't know very well, and you don't entirely agree with them, it's more polite to use expressions of half agreeing or politely disagreeing to introduce your point of view. Half agreeing. I see what you mean, but... Dot. Dot. I agree up to a point, but... Dot. Dot. I agree in theory, but... Dot. Dot. Politely disagreeing. I'm not sure I agree with you. I don't really think that's right. 1.3 Listen to 5 short conversations which include the expressions from the information box. Focus on the intonation in the expressions. D. 1.4 Listen again and repeat the expressions, copying the intonation. E. Work in your groups and discuss the statements in B. If you half agree or disagree, use expressions from the box. 3. Grammar have. Lexical and grammatical uses. A. With a partner, look at all the sentences in groups 1 to 4. Answer the 2 questions for each group. Are all the options possible? Is there any difference in meaning or register? 1. I haven't got. I don't have. I haven't. Any siblings? 2. I've been making loads of food for a family dinner tonight. I've made. 3. Have we got to dress up for the party, or is it just family? Do we have to? 4. I've had some lovely photos taken. I've taken some lovely photos. BP.142 Grammar Bank 1A. Of the children. C. With a partner, say if each of the sentences below is true for you or not and why. Black circle. I'm the most competitive person in my family. Whenever I play a sport or game, I always have to win. When someone in my family annoys me, I always keep quiet rather than having it out with them. Black circle. I've been arguing a lot with my family recently. Black circle. I don't mind having my photo taken, but I'd hate to have my portrait painted. Black circle. I've got a lot of friends on social media, but I only have a few close friends that I see regularly face to face. I've got to try to get out more. I spend too much time at home. Black circle. I have a few possessions that are really important to me and that I would hate to lose. I've never wanted to leave home. I'm happy living with my parents. 4. Vocabulary personality. A look at the adjectives from the list that describe personality. Underline 3 that you think would make someone a good parent, and circle 3 that would make them a good partner. Affectionate, ambitious, assertive, bossy, honest, loyal, mature, moody, open-minded, outgoing, patient, reliable, sensitive, stubborn. B. Compare with a partner. Then decide together which adjectives might make someone a difficult parent or partner. P.162 Vocabulary Bank personality. 5. Pronunciation using a dictionary. Determined adjective. Bray, Dietz. Mind. Semicolon. Name, Dietz. Our mind. Opening parenthesis. Of people. Someone who, having made a decision, will not let anyone prevent them from carrying it out. A1.8 Look at the dictionary entry for determined. Focus on the phonetics. Which syllable is stressed? What difference is there between the two pronunciations? Listen and check. B. Underline the stressed syllable in the words below. 1. Conscientious. 2. Resourceful. 3. Sarcastic. 4. Thorough. 5. Spontaneous. 6. Straightforward. 7. Steady. 8. Self-sufficient. See what vowel sound the stressed syllables have. Choose from the sound pictures below. D1.9 Listen and check. E. Look at the phonetics for some more adjectives of personality. With a partner, work out how they're pronounced, and say how they're spelled and what they mean. Then check with a dictionary. 1. Anx. 2. Lovely. 3. Newsy. 4. Subtle. 5. Stingy. F. What features do you find most useful in the dictionary you use? 6. Reading and speaking. A. To what extent do you think the following are good ways of predicting personality types? Black circle online quizzes. Personality tests. Your handwriting. Your star sign. B. You're going to do a well-known personality test. Before you start, look at the painting for 30 seconds. Write what you see. You'll need this when you do the test. See language in context. Look at the test. What's your personality? Read the questions and possible answers. With a partner, try to work out the meaning of the highlighted phrasal verbs and idioms, but don't look them up yet. D. Now look them up in a dictionary and check your answers. E. Looking up phrasal verbs and idioms in a dictionary. Phrasal verbs PHRV. Phrasal verbs are listed in alphabetical order after the entry for the verbs. For phrasal verbs with an object, the object SB or south is shown between the two parts E, G. Put south off. This means the phrasal verb is separable, and the object can go between the verb and the particle or after the particle. If the object is shown after the particle E, G. Look for south, it means the verb and the particle cannot be separated. Idioms IDM. You can usually find the definition of an idiom under one of its Maran words. Nouns, verbs, adverbs, or adjectives, but not prepositions and articles. E. G. The definition of catch your eye will be given under catch or eye. after some very common verbs, e.g., be and get, and adjectives, e.g., good and bad. The idioms are usually under the entries for the next Maran word, e.g., be a good sport comes under sport. Do the test. For each question, decide which answer best describes you and circle AD. What's your personality? A planner or spontaneous? 1AU. Dot. Dot. Question mark. A perfectionist who hates leaving things unfinished. B someone who hates being under pressure and tends to overprepare. C a bit disorganized and forgetful. D someone who puts things off until the last minute. 2 imagine you have bought a piece of furniture that requires assembly. E.g., a wardrobe or a cupboard. Dot. Which of these are you more likely to do? A check that you have all the items and the tools you need. Before you start. B carefully read the instructions and follow them to the letter. C quickly read through the instructions to get the basic idea of what you have to do. D start assembling it right away. Check the instructions only if you get stuck. 3 before you go on holiday, which of these do you do? A plan every detail of your holiday. B put together a rough itinerary, but make sure you leave yourself plenty of free time. C get an idea of what kinds of things you can do, but not make a decision until you get there. D book the holiday at the last minute and plan hardly anything in advance. B facts or ideas. 4 which option best describes what you wrote about the painting in B on page 8? A it's basically a list of what appears in the painting. B it tells the story of what's happening in the painting. C it tries to explain what the painting means. D it's a lot of ideas that the painting made you think of. 5 you need to give a friend directions to your house in the country. Do you? Dot. Dot. Question mark. A write a list of detailed directions. B give them the postcode and expect them to use a sat-nav. C give rough directions. D draw a simple map showing only the basic directions. 6 when you go shopping at the supermarket, do you? Dot. Dot. Question mark. Always go down the same aisles in the same order. B carefully check prices and compare products. C buy whatever catches your eye. D go round a different way each time, according to what you want to buy. F now find out which type you are for each section. A more A and B equals planner, more C and D equals spontaneous. B more A and B equals facts, more C and D equals ideas. C more A and B equals head. More C and D equals heart. C head or heart. 7 if an argument starts when you are with friends, do you? Dot. Dot. Question mark. A face it head on and say what you think. B try to find a solution yourself. C try to keep everyone happy. D do anything to avoid hurting people's feelings. 8 imagine you had the choice between 2 flats to rent. Would you? Dot. Dot. Question mark. A write what your ideal flat would be like and then see which one was the most similar. B make a list of the pros and cons of each one. C just go with your gut feeling. D consider carefully how each flat would suit the other people living with you. 9 imagine a friend of yours started going out with someone new, and they asked you for your opinion. If you really didn't like the person, would you? Dot. Dot. Question mark. A tell them exactly what you thought. B be honest, but as tactful as possible. C try to avoid answering the question directly. D tell a white lie. D introvert or extrovert. 10 you're out with a group of friends. Do you? Dot. Dot. Question mark. A say hardly anything. B say a little less than most people. C talk a lot. D do nearly all the talking. 11 when you meet a new group of people, do you? Dot. Dot. Question mark. A try to stay with people you already know. B have to think hard about how to keep the conversation going. C try to get to know as many people as possible. D just enjoy yourself. 12 if your phone rings while you are in the middle of something, do you? Dot. Dot. Question mark. D. More A and B equals introvert, more C and D equals extrovert. Or ignore it and carry on with what you're doing. B. Answer it quickly, but say you'll call back. C. Have a conversation, but make sure you keep it short. D. Welcome the interruption and enjoy a nice long chat. G. Communication. What's your personality? P.106 Find out which personality you have and read the description. Compare with a partner. How accurate were the descriptions of your personalities? Adapted from the BBC website. Adapted from the Times. 1b. A job for life? Whenever you are asked if you can do a job, tell M, certainly I can. Then get busy and find out how to do it. Theodore Roosevelt, U.S. President 1901 to 1909. G. Discourse markers. 1. Linkers v. Work P. The rhythm of English. 1. Vocabulary work. A look at some adjectives which are often used to describe jobs. With a partner, brainstorm 3 jobs which could be described with each of the adjectives. Challenging. Repetitive, rewarding. BP.163 Vocabulary bank work. See what qualities and features are important to you in a job. 2. Reading and listening. A. Look at the title of the article and the 5 photos of Emma Rosen. What job do you think she's doing in each photo? B. Read the article once and check your answers to A. Then answer the questions with a partner. 1. What qualification did Emma need for her job as a civil servant? 2. What did she see as the pros and cons of the job? 3. How did she prepare for her year trying out different jobs? 4. Did you want to do any of the jobs Emma mentions when you were growing up? 25 jobs before she was 25. MMA Rosen had one of the best, most sought-after graduate wanted to have tried out at least 25 different jobs. She spent jobs in the country, in the civil service. 20,000 people apply. But fewer than 1,000 are offered jobs. But it turned out that she didn't like commuting and she didn't like sitting at a desk all day, and she struggled to see how what she was doing would make much difference to anything. I thought, get over it, you're being a snowflake millennial, she says. I had a job for life. I thought, I'm so lucky to be here, I can't believe I'm not enjoying it. What's wrong with me? Why am I so ungrateful and selfish? Single quote. Emma could have gone to work every day and complained about her job until she reached retirement age. Instead, she decided to find out what made her happy, what her skills were, and what sort of career would use them. She wrote a bucket list of the jobs she had wanted to do since childhood and set about getting 2-week placements in all of them, over the course of a year. She was 24 years old, and before her 25th birthday the months before she resigned from the civil service saving up her salary to cover the cost of her year off, and spent all her free time setting up the different jobs. There was archaeology in Transylvania. Property development for a company in London. Alpaca farming in Cornwall, wedding photography, travel writing, interior design, journalism, landscape gardening, marketing, TV production, publishing, all things that I thought I might want to do. Single quote. Glossary. Snowflake, snauflurk. Informal, disapproving. A person who is too sensitive to criticism and easily upset. Millennial, millennial. A person who became an adult in the early 21st century. Bucket list, bucket list. A list of things people want to do in their lifetime. E.g. places they'd like to travel to. C. 1.13 You're going to listen to an interview with Emma. Which of the jobs she mentions in the last paragraph of the article do you think she liked the most, the least? Listen to part 1 and check. Glossary. Networking, trying to meet and talk to other people who may be useful to you in your work. Cold calling, telephoning somebody that you do not know, in order to sell them something or get them to do something for you. Shear, cut the wool off an animal. E.g. a sheep. Typo, a small mistake in a text. D. With a partner, look at the points below and see if you can remember any of the information from Emma's answers. Then listen again and make notes about. E. 1. How she got the jobs. 2. What she could find out about a job in 2 weeks. 3. Why it didn't matter that she didn't have qualifications for the jobs. 4. What the job she liked best involved. 5. What she didn't like about her least favorite job. 1.14 Now listen to part 2. Choose A, B, or C. One thing Emma learned from the experience was that A. She enjoyed things that she was good at. B. She discovered what her ideal job was. C. She might end up doing many different jobs. 2. She thinks that in the future blank. A young people will still be doing 9-to-5 jobs. B. People will no longer retire in their 60s. C. People will need many more technical skills. 3. One thing she thinks young people need to learn is how that might help them in their career. 2. A. Form relationships. B. Choose subjects. C. Get qualifications. 4. At the moment Emma A. only works as a writer. B. Teaches journalism in a public school. C. Doesn't have one specific job. 5. Emma believes that what jobs she does in the future may depend on A. Where she decides to live. B. How old she is. How many children she has. F. Imagine you have decided to do the same thing as Emma. Make a list of 5 jobs you would like to try. Then compare with a partner and explain why you chose the jobs. Do you both agree with Emma's view that a career for life no longer exists? 3. Pronunciation and speaking the rhythm of English. Fine-tuning your pronunciation. The rhythm of English. In spoken English, words with 2 or more syllables have one main stressed syllable. In sentences, some words have stronger stress and other words are weaker. This pattern of strong and weak stress gives English its rhythm. Stressed words in a sentence are usually content words, e.g., nouns, verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Unstressed words tend to be function words and include auxiliary verbs, prepositions, conjunctions, determiners, and possessive adjectives. A. 1.15 Listen to some extracts from Emma's interview in 2. Then practice saying them, trying to copy the rhythm as exactly as possible. 1. It was just enough to get a flavor of it. 2. I wasn't expected to have qualifications or to lead my own work. 3. The first half of each day was traditional farming jobs. 4. Networking was a big part of it, too. 5. But what I found out was that that's not necessarily true at all. B. Choose 2 people you know. One who really likes their job and one who doesn't. Think about what their job is and what it involves. What kind of company or organization they work for, or whether they are self-employed. Black circle how long they have been doing the job, and what they did before. Black circle how they feel about their job and why. C. In small groups, describe the people in B. Try to use natural rhythm. D. Of the jobs that you have all described in your group, each say if there is one that you would quite like to try. You might consider trying if you needed the money. You would never do under any circumstances. Friendless. 11. 4. Reading. The Guardian runs a weekly series called What I'm Really Thinking, where people in different jobs or situations reveal their true feelings. Look at the titles of the 3 articles. What do you think each person might like and dislike about their job? B. Read the articles and check your answers to A. Which person, AC. Question mark. Enjoys their job the most. 1. 2. Enjoys their job the least. 3. Doesn't have a good relationship with some of their colleagues. 4. Trains others as part of their job. 5. Struggles with the lack of sleep. 6. Helps people in need. C. Read the articles again. With a partner, say what you think the people mean by the following phrases or sentences. 1. It's my structure and my sanity. 2. I challenge someone's expectations a little bit. 3. Dot. Dot. Night receptionist is not a good thing to put on a CV. 4. Traveling against commuter traffic is great. Dot. Dot. 5. Dot. Dot. Have random weekdays off. 6. Dot. Dot. With almost zero opportunities to develop broader interests. Dot. Dot. D. Look at the highlighted phrases in the articles and work out their meaning from the context. Then match them to definitions 1 to 7. Managed to arrive. Underscore equals not understood the. Equals do things. Spontaneously, without reflecting. 1. 2. Most important fact. 3. 4. 5. Without respite. 6. 7. Equals ended a long time ago equals reasonable, acceptable. Underscore equals defend myself. Equals continue working hard. E. Were you surprised by anything the 3 people said? B. What I'm really. The female boxing coach apparently. I don't look like a boxer. I get told that a lot. I've lost count of the number of times people have exclaimed, "What about your nose?" And, "What if you mess up your face?" They've missed the point. I'm not a model, so what does it matter if my D. nose isn't straight? And anyway, boxing means more to me than that. It's my structure and my sanity. Cheaper than therapy, that's what we say. Injuries are part of the game, but I've been lucky so far. As the only girl in my gym, I'm aware that I'm a novelty. I've always been a tomboy, though, so it doesn't bother me to train with the blokes. Some men don't like to box with a woman, and that's fair enough. But mostly they get used to it. When I'm not in the mood and consider giving up, I think about the children I help teach. There are a couple of young girls coming up who are really good and I want to be an example. Every time I hold my own in the ring, I challenge someone's expectations a little bit, and I'm proud of myself for that. 10,000. The night receptionist. People assume I get bored, but I enjoy the solitude. I like the hourly walks through the quiet corridors and listening to the patter of the rain on the windows while enjoying a cup of tea. I enjoy finishing a good book or watching the birds in the car park feeding on the muffins I put out yesterday. The tiredness is the hardest. Sometimes I have a good routine and my sleep is not affected. Other times, I walk into doors, zombie-like, and occasionally I've been surprised to find that I've actually made it home. My husband tells me I should find a new job, and I have been applying for some since I began working here, but night receptionist is not a good thing to put on a CV. I'm good with people. I just don't like a lot of them. But though my job often perpetuates this dislike, I am compassionate towards those in need. I never think twice about letting someone in from the cold, or giving away a free room if it is a genuine cause. But if the intercom goes off at 2 a.m., and I see a couple who can hardly stand, I'll probably say the hotel is full, even when it isn't, especially if I've just made a tea. Thinking. The orchestral. Musician. 5 grammar discourse markers. 1. Linkers. Read some extracts from other what I'm really thinking articles. Match them to the jobs from the list. What point is each person making about their job? A and E doctor, dental hygienist, fashion stylist, political advisor, university lecturer, 999 operator. I have done this for so long, my mind is free to wander while I play. The thrill of this being a fresh challenge has long gone. I just want to get to the end of the concert and go home. Traveling against commuter traffic is great, but it's also a reminder that most people are on their way to relax and I'm only just getting started. We're not all friends. The person on my right had an affair with the person on my left, and the ex sits close by. People fraternize exclusively according to the instrument they play, especially on tour. Late nights and out-of-town work mean I often get home after midnight, but I sleep only around 6 hours or I'll miss the family in the only half hour we have together. I work most weekends and holidays, then have random weekdays off. The freelance pay structure and low fees keep my nose to the grindstone, with almost zero opportunities to develop broader interests or a social life outside. Adapted from The Guardian. 1. Although it is not my place to judge, I get frustrated sometimes. The man who rang because his toothpaste was burning his mouth. The mother whose baby was afraid of a fly. 2. When you are really disengaged and disconnected, I see hands reach for phones in bags. Sometimes you even pass notes and giggle. Yet I also see you when you laugh at my jokes. 3. I'm exhausted. It is demoralizing to start a shift only to find that the department already has a 4-hour wait to see someone. There are people lining the corridors, and there is nowhere to take new patients, and consequently the wait gets longer. 4. One supermodel arrived at a shoot 3 hours late, then spent another couple of hours looking at Twitter while everyone waited for her. Then she was a nightmare. She was a world-class bully and said she had never met anyone as rude as me. However, I fought back and she was lovely after that, though she made me sign a non-disclosure agreement not to talk about the shoot. 5. I'm only here in order to help get you elected. But why you? Yes, I know, you won the party's nomination, but did they realize that, despite your firm handshake and boyish charm, you know as much about corporate tax policy as I know about astrophysics? 6. I know it's not the most pleasant experience, so I try to alleviate the worry. Be with a partner, write the highlighted linkers in the correct column. Result. Reason. CGP.143 Grammar Bank 1B. Purpose. Contrast. Although. D1.16 Listen and write the first halves of 8 sentences. Compare with a partner, and then decide together how you think the sentences might continue. E1.17 Now listen and complete the sentences from D. Are they similar to what you predicted? 6. Writing. WP.116 Writing a job application. Analyze a model email applying for a job, and write a covering email. 1. Colloquial English. Talking about work and family. 1. The interview part 1. Read the biographical information about Eliza Carthy. Have you ever heard any English, Scottish, or Irish folk music? Eliza Carthy is an English folk musician known both for singing and playing the violin. She is the daughter of singer, guitarist Martin Carthy and singer Norma Waterson, who are also English folk musicians. In addition to her solo work, she has played and sung with several groups, including as lead vocalist with Blue Murder. She has been nominated twice for the Mercury Music Prize for UK Album of the Year, has won 8 BBC Folk Awards, and has also been given an MBE for services to folk music. When she released an album of collaborations with her mother, entitled Gift, a BBC reviewer wrote, "The gift in question here is a handling of talent from generation to generation." Single quote. Part 2. And now watch Part 2. What do you think Eliza Carthy was like as a child? What do you find out about her as a mother? B. Watch again and answer the questions. 1. Did Eliza originally want to become a musician? 2. Why did her mother retire? 3. How old was she at her first public performance? 4. How much did she sing during the concert? 5. How has she reorganized her life because of having her own children? 6. What does she feel she's lacking at the moment? C. What do you think of Eliza's work-life balance? Glossary. The Failed, an area in western Lancashire, England. Fleetwood, a town in the Fylde. The Marine Hall, a venue in Fleetwood. B. Watch Part 1 of the interview. What is Eliza's overwhelming memory of her childhood? C. Now watch again. What does Eliza say about... Question mark. 1. Her father in the 50s and 60s. 2. The Watersons. 3. Her mother's grandmother. 4. Her mother's uncle and father. 5. The spinning wheel. 6. The farm where she was brought up. 7. Her parents' friends. D. Do you think Eliza's upbringing sounds like it was fun or quite hard? Why? Glossary. Bob Dylan. B.1941. An American singer-songwriter who has influenced popular music and culture for more than 5 decades. Paul Simon. B.1941. An American singer-songwriter, at one time half of the duo Simon and Garfunkel. Hull, Hal, a city in Yorkshire, England. Travelers, gypsies, people who traditionally travel around and live in caravans. Banjo, a musical instrument like a guitar, with a long neck, a round body, and 4 or more strings. The Spinning Wheel, an Irish ballad written in the mid-1800s. Part 3. And now watch Part 3. How has Eliza Carthy's family influenced her approach to music? B. Watch again. Mark the sentences T. True. Or F. False. Dot. Correct the F sentences. 1. Eliza thinks the reason she doesn't like working alone is because of being brought up surrounded by people. 2. At the moment she has a 30-piece band. 3. Her father understands that working with family members is different. 4. Her father was a blood relation in the group The Watersons. 5. Eliza's daughter Florence plays 3 musical instruments and also sings well. 6. She thinks there's a close link between foreign languages and singing. 7. Her younger daughter Isabella is not yet interested in music. 8. She would rather her children didn't become touring musicians. C. Did you ever want to have the same job as your parents? Would you like to work with any members of your family? Why not? Question mark. Glossary. Twinkle, Twinkle, a well-known children's song. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Dot. Dot. Closing parenthesis. 3. The Conversation. Joanne. Duncan. Alice. 2. A. Looking at language. Discourse markers. Eliza Carthy uses several discourse markers when she speaks, that is, adverbs. E.g. so, anyway, or adverbial expressions. E.g. in fact, after all, which connect and organize language, and help you to follow what she is saying. Watch some extracts from the interview and complete the gaps with 1 or 2 words. 1. Dot. Dot. And they were also instrumental in the beginning of the 60s folk revival, the formation of the folk clubs, and the beginning of professional music scene that I work on now. Single quote. The 2. Interviewer, and were your parents both from musical families? Single quote. Eliza, musical. Dot. Dot. Single quote. 3. My mum retired in 1966 minus 65/66 from professional touring to raise me. Both sides of my family are. The road is a difficult place. Dot. Dot. Single quote. 4. But yes. I just the first song they started up singing, tugged on his leg. Dot. Dot. Single quote. 5. Interviewer. Has having children yourself changed your approach to your career? Single quote. Eliza, yes. A. It has. Single quote. Dot. Yes. 6. Dot. Dot. The Watersons was a brother and 2 sisters, and he joined that, and he was married to my mum, but he wasn't related to her. Single quote. 7. And Isabella, my youngest as well, she's really showing interest in it, and I love it when they do that. Whether or not I'd want them to be touring musicians. Dot. Dot. Single quote. 8. But, you know, I think the world is changing. I don't know how many touring musicians there are going to be in the world in 20 years. Dot. Dot. Single quote. B. How do the discourse markers affect the meaning of what Eliza says in each extract? A. Watch the conversation. Who? Dot. Dot. Question mark. 1. Worked for their family business. 2. Knows someone who worked for their family business. 3. Doesn't mention their own family. B. Watch again. Which of these advantages and disadvantages of working in a family business are mentioned, and by whom? If your parents run a business, it can be very convenient to work for them. 1. 2. It can be a problem to take a break from work. 3. If the business is successful, all the money stays in the family. 4. 5. It can be difficult to achieve a good work-life balance. Sometimes family members can be taken. 6. 7. It makes you understand how difficult it is to run a business. Advantage of. It's impossible to maintain good relations with your family. C. Do you think that on the whole it's a positive thing to work for a family business? D. Watch an extract where Joanne talks at the same time as Alice. Complete what Joanne says. What is Joanne's intention? Alice. ... My parents would go off to work and I knew that was a place that they went off. ... Joanne 1. Alice. ... To make money. ... But I didn't see it, so Joanne, I think that's really too to appreciate it. Yes. 3. Alice, it makes you appreciate it more and you see the hard work and the stresses. ... Joanne 4. Alice. ... Of running a business. Joanne, so it could be in 5. Alice, definitely. Joanne. ... 1 6. Situation. Rather than an exploitative. Now have a conversation in groups of 3. Discuss the statements. 1. It's much easier for the children of successful parents to be successful themselves. 2. It's not possible to both have a successful career and be a successful parent.